Eliphaz, Bildad, Zophar, and Elihu. They come over. They stick with Job for 7 days, sitting there, just watching. Just watching. Can you imagine? Just put yourself in that. Think about that. See, we just read the story. Oh, that's a beautiful story. Read about it. Really put yourself there. He's got boils. He's scraping them off. 7 days they come in. And can you boils. Really think about these stories. That's why God simplified this great book. So that we can empathize with this. So we can really understand through our own experience what it must have been like. If you're sick and throwing up and stuff like that, and your friends over there, they just looking at you, don't you want them to do something? Can you give me some Sprite? You pray for them, can you do a war dance or something, you know? Do something. But you just looking at me. So they just looking at me. After 7 days, the number of completion, God's number, they decide to speak. So you just knowing that they're going to say something powerful that's going to lift this man that's obviously going through mental turmoil. And he's already going through physical turmoil. And now there's spiritual turmoil because he didn't do anything wrong. There was a bet going on in the celestial kingdom he knew not of. And the weight, if you will, of the human race for that moment, he was sort of like the spokesperson of this race of man that God created, that Satan is trying to let God know, you made a mistake making him. So Job's got to make God look good. So in essence, he's got to be the credit to his race. So as this debate is going on, Job is going through, I didn't do anything wrong. Then they speak. And when they speak, they start telling, yeah, after 7 days now. I know you done did something wrong, Job. You should know, man. We was all talking, man, when you got all that cattle and all your kids was doing good. People Job. Come on, let's put ourselves in friends we know that do this. Job. Every time we turn around, Job this, Job that. And now look what's happening. See, you had everybody food, Job. You ain't got us food. We know, Job, you've been doing something wrong. We know something deep, dark. There's a secret there. Your kids get wiped out. We're bad kids anyway. We just didn't want to say that, Job. See, really, this is happening. And he's going through, he's cutting his boils. His kids are dead. All these things have happened. He's done nothing to cause this. And his wife, family, tells him to curse God and just die. So you know she's not there for him. And then his friends try to let him know it must have been some sin you did, homie. You had somebody fool, but you ain't fooled us. So he's looking at them. So he's trying to respond, man, I ain't done nothing wrong. Yeah, you did too do something wrong. And then so they're going back and forth throughout the book. Job is trying to say, I did nothing wrong. And then he questions God, why, God, would you allow for me to? And if there's anything he did wrong, he questioned God. But before we get on him, what would we have done? Before it even got to that point, like I said, one of your kids, yeah, he spoke to me, he said for me to get out of the house, and that's just if somebody spoke bad to our kids. His kids are wiped out. All of his livelihood is wiped out. His wife is against him. Boils all over his body. What did he do to gain this negativity? Then his friends are trying to make him to know you did something wrong. So they're going back and forth throughout the book. Throughout the book, he's trying to defend himself and he questions God. Why, God? You should have kept me when I was born. They should have just threw me out. I should have never been born. Why this? Why that? God, why? If you're there, speak to me. But God can't say a word because the enemy got him right where he wants him. You see, you ask, why did God permit sin? Well, think of the accusation Satan had to him in the kingdom, that God was unfair. We're forced to serve him, not out of love, but out of force. So by that, God had to sit back and let sin reach its pinnacle so that we can see and we can make a choice between good and evil in this great controversy between God and Satan. We had to know what evil was really all about. Did Eve really understand? Was that fruit that good? Did it look that good? Because Job can say this isn't fair, but this was the consequence of eating the fruit. Life now becomes unfair.
Come on now.
See, this is what God meant. And the enemy said, well, you ain't gonna surely die. No, not right there. Oh, wow. Not right there. But there's going to be a slow decay, a wasting away, a mindset, a deformity of this thing called a sinful life. And yet with that, life will no longer be fair. So Job, this was a part of the results of what Eve and Adam did. It was unfair. We all say that. But is it fair when we look at the news and thousands of people in Africa or around the world get blown up or shot up? It's not fair. But these were the consequences of sin. God warned our first parents about this. And his word was true. But here he can't say anything. Just like he can't stop evil right now. So the enemy from doing this thing, one day he will for good. Yes. But he's giving us a chance to say, God, I love you because of you and who you are. I love you because I don't want this, God. Yeah. I see this. I don't want this. I want you. In order for that, he has to allow evil. Obviously, Lucifer had a good argument because 1/3 of God's perfect angels fell with him. You see? So here God has to be quiet and let Job work it out. Is he doing that in your life? When you think, where is he? Why me, Lord? And he's quiet because he's confidently working things out for our good, but we got to trust him. Yes, even when we look up in our spiritual skies and all we see is dark clouds, we got to know beyond those clouds, the sun, S-O-N, is shining. We gotta know that. Job was on trial now. Was he to pass? God, the righteous judge, has to stay quiet while the enemy just showed out. And so back and forth, his friends are philosophizing through envy and jealousy, covetousness, all of the above. Haters, frenemies are letting him know you did something wrong. Some of them are even saying, your kids are the reason why they ain't here. Bad kids. Your kids did that they deserve. If you go on and read Job, you'll see, man, they're philosophizing and just beating him down mentally and spiritually. So if the other tragedies didn't get him, this will certainly get him. How would we function under this? This guy has to be a Superman.
Yes, he is.
I'm so far down from this. I don't even come on the screen next to him.
Okay. That's right.
And the worst he did, he questioned God. So before I can see his sin, because obviously God did not like it, I'm looking at mine. What was, Lord, I would have fell off at the beginning of the game. At the fence of this wilderness walk. When you open up the fence and said wilderness, I would have messed up right there. So they go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Job is undone. All is against him. And when we look at chapter 19, turn to chapter 19 and let's look at verse 1. This, we're going to see what his friends are doing to him. As I wind this down, his friends, and you put yourself in his place. Do you have frenemies that attack you at your lowest point? Oh, yeah. Do you have families that attack you at your lowest point?
Yes.
When the sun is shining as you in your life and all is going well, you ain't going to see them show their true colors. No. Let tragedy come. Oh, you look up, you have a lot of friends when the sun is shining. Oh, but when it's dark in your spiritual life,
yeah,
all you hear are the crickets.
Say it. Say it.
Because ain't no friends around. Ain't no families around. God is the only one that you depend on. Him only do you serve. Because he's one that will never leave you or forsake you. No matter what you've done, he'll never leave. Your family will. Your friends will.
That's
but
right.
God never will.
That's right. Say it. Say it. Say
Job 19:1 says, then Job answered and said, now his friends are just charging him that Job has done something evil. And he says, how long will you torment my soul? These are his enemies he's speaking with. And break me in pieces with words. These 10 times you have reproached me. You are not ashamed that you have wronged me. And if indeed I have erred, if I have erred, if I did something wrong, he's trying to say, my error remains with me. If indeed you exalt yourselves against me and plead my disgrace against me, know then that God has wronged me and has surrounded me with his net. Yeah. If I cry out, now how many of us have walked this? Now about these texts here, I'm reading the Bible, do this in my 7th year in a row, and it gets sweeter and sweeter every time. But as I read this and I look at my experience, Sister Arlene,